it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Hey everyone, the USF 2000 is a blast to drive now, and here's your chance to learn it quickly. From my tutorial, VRS created a free bonus track guide for the Laguna Seca circuit, where you can learn exactly what I do in every corner to improve your lap times and get faster on track. You'll learn how to easily recognise brake markers, you'll find out which curves to attack and which ones to avoid, you'll know when to use the full track and when a sequence of corners requires a compromise. And you'll learn how hard to brake and when to lift. The VRS Quick Reference track maps are available free to download and delivered each week to your inbox. The entire global MX-5 series is available, as well as bonus maps like this one and many more. So if you're a new racer, or a veteran, or just anyone who wants to learn how to get faster sooner, the VRS track guides are for you. Just hit the link or button on screen and get yours today.
There are some circuits in the world which just have legendary written all over them. This, for a number of years, is one such track. This is a place which is one of the few circuits in the world that is a figure eight. That in itself makes the place remarkable. But an opening sector which winds and snakes its way up the hills, when you've got the legendary 130R, a left-hand bend which strikes fear into the mind of any driver in any vehicle. This is Dallara Formula IR at Suzuka, arguably one of the greatest tracks to have ever been created. Welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jake Sperry here with SimSpeed TV, joined alongside by Scott Fountain for a bumper crop of sim racing action for you here today. We come to you from Mie Prefecture, Japan, just a couple of miles away from the action that is going on over in Suzuka, or in Osaka, I should say. Actually, Suzuka is where we are today. But, of course, we are in for an absolute treat. Qualifying just about getting itself started. Fonty, we are in a bang-up field here today. We have got ourselves so many drivers coming through. There you can see where Osaka is, Nagoya, Tokyo there, the big sprawling metropolis with Sendai over on the right. But we move into Mie and exactly where we are, and this is truly a legendary circuit.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome to another Friday night with SimSpeed. We were just here last week for the iRacing Grand Prix series this very, and saw some fantastic racing in that, and I expect to see the same tonight. So yeah, going to be some pretty awesome fun, I reckon.
Absolutely, it's going to be really, really good. 5.80 kilometers. You got 3.61 miles. It's a 400-yard run into turn number one. That's a very, very accessible par 4 in towards turn number 1 that will be finding themselves here today. And as they make that run through Dunlop to the Degner curves, the hairpin, and of course then Spoon, which is very difficult, that run to the Casio Triangle will be the prime place today where you're going to be seeing some moves done. And in these Dallara Formula IRs, we have seen time and again just how difficult these are to control. But we have said that we've got a stronger strength of field, so we need to flip over to the championship and how it looks. Marco Sanfilippo, 1699 on the board. Tamas Simon with a race in hand on 1523. If there is any race where you need to score big here at this circuit, in this championship, it is this one for Tamas Simon, who knows that he's got to be at his level best to go out there and score as many points as he can.
Yes, you're exactly right. Tamas Simon, he needs to go out there and have a good run tonight. You know, doesn't need to finish first, but certainly close enough to the top step of the podium would be good for him. Yeah, got some great drivers out there tonight, so a high strength of field race, which will be awesome to watch.
That high strength of field showing itself right now. The first time's due to coming on the board, and there is Tamas Simon making his drive up the hill towards 130R, this left-hand bend which creates so much racing and so much difficult battling. First time on the board by Michael de Turk with a 129.799, but Simon making his drive down the hill, then through a 19 over towards the line, and puts a 28.7 on the board, a whole second quicker than de Turk. Danny Alves there finding himself in third, with Cal Young currently in fourth position. But there is Marco Sanfilippo out there on track looking for everything he can get. No Danilo here tonight, but Marco is going to try and bring his Palermo-inspired livery right up there to the very front and showcase that he has what it takes.
Yeah, he's certainly looking pretty smooth there, or just locked out left front. Going into that right-hander there, but yeah, certainly very fast at this stage, and I'm sure he can. Oh, there we go. Big mistake from him. So probably going to have to give up on this lap.
Yeah, we just cut away to Michael de Turk. It was just a case that he lost the back end going into the Dunlop hairpin, and that very, very much made things very awkward. Of course, colloquially, you call it Kamui Kobayashi hairpin for the exploits that he managed in 2012 in a Sauber in the Formula 1 race there. But here is de Turk, second lap then on the board, currently in 4th position right now and making that descent down the hill towards the line. You're really fighting with grip, and that is a 29.6, which is good enough to leapfrog Tomasz Kozdzron, the Polish driver, and move up into 3rd for the moment. But here comes Marco over for the line. It's only a 29.2. I say only, half a second back, but with one more lap in the book, it won't matter too much. Tomasz Szymon has done a 28.3, makes the gap 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, well, I think he could probably easily pull that back. We saw the mistake from him. He easily lost a second in that. So, yeah, as long as he keeps it clean through this one, tyres are nice and warm now. And, yeah, I'm sure he can easily put it at the top there.
Well, we will have to see. We've got a load of different drivers here. Andy T is one to keep an eye out on. He is someone who's been fighting Tomasz Szymon all season long, not in this championship, but the Lotus 79 championship out there in iRacing. So he's been having that massive scrap with him and said, you know what? I want to try and challenge you on your home turf and get things going there. Andreas Henkel, by the way, going up to second on a 29 flat. He was saying how he was looking at the temperatures of the track, and he's saying 39 and under is good. Anything above 40 might be a bit dangerous. It was 39 in practice. It's 41 degrees in qualifying. It's right on the limit as everyone goes through. James Chesters has just jumped up into 12th, but here comes Andy T looking for the line, and that is a 29 flat to put things down as a banker lap to start. He's going to have just enough time for one more lap. There goes Marco Sanfilippo to the line, a 28.8. Good enough then to move up into 2nd position with that one, but still half a second down on Tomasz Szymon.
Yeah, exactly right. Thought he might have been able to do it, but yeah, Tomasz Szymon certainly showing his stuff here tonight, and yeah, half a second faster. So expect the battle to be pretty tight between those two guys.
Yeah, Jacob Oberslack then coming to the line in 14th, and Rashad Craig with the number 14 on his vehicle goes 9th with a 29.8 out there at the moment. Marco Sanfilippo then is out of laps. He will not be able to improve on his time. The only two, there's a handful of drivers who can improve: Philip Schiff, James Chesters, and Andy T. We're on board with T now, going through Spoon. Look how aggressive. They're over 220 Ks through that first lap. That shows you how much downforce you have in these Dallara Formula IRs as you make that charge back up the hill, over the bridge here. You don't really notice it, but you are going over the other part of the circuit into 130R. This left-hander at 313 Ks before smashing down on the brakes in towards the Castillo Triangle, where the car is at its most vulnerable through this right. You can see just how much it's having to fight through that final corner and over to the line. A 28.7 is good enough for T to move up into 2nd place. Schiff's lap time was okay, and that is everyone over the line then in qualifying. All 16 drivers setting a time, so we can take ourselves over to the starting grid. And this is how everyone will stack up for the Dallara Formula IR race here at Suzuka. This is top split, prime time for championship points, with everyone working forward, and everyone is trying to get all the times available. But the more things change, the more things stay the same. Tomasz Szymon, 4/10 quicker than anybody else in qualifying. A 1:28.364 is good enough there. And we'll have Andy T there, the Brit, alongside in 2nd position. There you've got Marco Sanfilippo in 3rd, championship leader, with Andreas Henkel 4th. Omar Bahar, of course, had that incident at Silverstone last week. He starts 5th, and it's Dominic Gaidemeyer there in 6th position with the number 1 highest I rating of anybody in the field. Michael de Turk starts this one from 7th position, with Tomasz Kozdzron in 8th, with Rashad Craig in 9th, and Philip Schiff rounding out then the top 10, Following that is Daniel Alves there in 11th position overall, with Cal Young in 12th there in the race spot car. Brandon Powell in 13th with James Chester's 14th. Following that, Jacob Oberslack. And right at the very back is Anthony Catt, hoping for the best opportunity available here today. 2 minutes to get themselves gridded up then here around this place. Track temp remains at 41 degrees. Winds coming in from the east, blustering around 13, 14 kilometers an hour. So that is going to play a factor as they go through the likes of the S's section. But it's all about that run to one. There's some famous races where it's all gone wrong at 1 and 2. Senna and Prost, for example, 1990 has been one which has been remembered time and time again. But every driver looking to get themselves ready, just waiting for one driver. That is Daniel Alves, who we wait for to get up onto the grid. Once he gets himself situated or not, we are going to be ready and we are going to be racing. On the grid goes Alves. Now the lights procedure will start. 30 laps here at Suzuka. 1 pit stop will be required. Lights on as we get ourselves ready. And the lights are out and we are underway. It's a slow start from the 4th row. It's a slow start from Andy T, who gets absolutely swarmed. Marco Sanfilippo's got a stormer and trying to go around the outside into turn number 1 and 2 as well. It's going to be a fight hard from Tamas Simon as they make that charge. T is back down there in 4th position, but Tamas Simon defiantly, triumphantly finds himself in front, and Omar Bahar's in the gravel.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic start. Everyone got through the first 2 corners pretty clean, and no one round off the line, which is fantastic. And these guys are already starting to get themselves into single file. Andy T will be a little bit gutted that he couldn't quite get it off the line as well as what some of these other guys have, but he's an experienced driver, and I'm sure we will see him fight his way back through.
I'm pretty sure we will. Onto the Dunlop hairpin then for the first time. Your field looking very, very stacked up at the moment. The mid-pack looking quite feisty here. James Chester's, for example, in a pretty good position. But there is T in full position. There is Chester's, who's made really good progress, actually, off of the start. He's now challenging Rashad Craig for position here. Remember, starting 9th on the grid. So as they go through Spoon, this is the big run, the most deadly run on this track, all the way to 130R and beyond. And we know that the slipstream in these vehicles is absolutely paramount.
Yeah, here we go. Nice little battle here. Back for 9th and 10th. It looks like a move's going to happen. Oh, he's going to close the door on him. Here we go. They've managed to get through this next section. Lap 1 complete.
That one very much complete and in the books at this stage. A lot of drivers thinking about it. There is Alves side by side, looking to try and get through with Philip Schiff, and ultimately decides can't quite get it done here at 1. Lifts off then and waits for a different opportunity to present itself. On board with Andreas Henkel, the Michael Schumacher helmet on, as he finds himself in 3rd position in this train, T behind. And then Marco Sanfilippo just in front. Hasn't been a big breakaway to start this race, but what you can say about this start is that Andreas Henkel has done really well. He's been understanding the car week in, week out, and now I think you can finally put Andreas Henkel up there as one of the elite drivers in this series.
Omar Bahar, he's taken an off. There was 3 cars wide there, and he just got slightly pushed out to the outside. It was Daniel Lawrence. He was in a battle with earlier on in that, but he's managed to get away with it and not give the car any damage. So he's got 3.6 seconds to catch up the road to the next car, though.
Well, let's have a look here, because he was right behind Cal Young, riding up the hill. There is Danny Alves Lorenco in a world of trouble, and a bit of netco contact you'd see there as they went through, and a bit of drama then, making life a little bit more tough to get things done. Move done, though, by Andy T. A mistake from Henkel going through, which we're still going to catch here on the Virtual Racing School replay. It's coming through the second half of Spoon. You can see it's through the first part, okay, but the second part, there's just no turning. He misses the apex by a country mile. You could park a London bus through there, and Andy T says, thank you very much, and that is mine. Yeah,
I think he actually grabbed the grass there on that right rear wheel and at the point of turn-in, which just didn't help to get him through that corner, and that gave the position up.
It very much did, and now the work being done. There is Tomasz Koztron in the mock-up machine there of an Alfa Romeo. He's just behind Dominic Gademeyer there in the race lead, well, in the number 1 car, I should say, and then behind that you've got Rashad Craig looking to try and get through at any available point. We're on lap 3 of 30 here, so a tenth of the race would already be scored complete at the end of this lap. And everyone's just trying to calmly get themselves settled down and into a rhythm. This is a track which demands respect, and that's why we haven't seen too many issues in the opening laps. Only Omar Bahar really in any form of trouble. There is Tamash Simon, and that gap is just creeping to a second, and that will be what he has been idolizing over the course of these opening laps.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm just looking back at Anthony Cat here. He's all over the back of Cao Young. Nice little battle between himself and Daniel Lawrence as well. So these guys going right at it. Not quite close enough to get him under brakes. However,
you can see there, big slide from Daniel Alves Lorenco there. Daniel Alves struggling a little bit in the target car to move on forward and gain those places. Brandon Powell, of course, just behind, and sometimes you do need that little bit of calm to go through if you are going to attack and make this race work. They go through the S's section, then this is turns 3 and 4 and 5, and you really do take for granted when you look at it on paper, oh, it's just a series of lefts and rights. How tough can it be? This is incredibly difficult racing around this element of track.
yeah, you're exactly right, and especially in these cars, you really wear out the front through that section of track, and with such a long race and with such horsepower that these cars have, you can find yourself starting to struggle once those tyres
Powell
really start to wear down. Car around, Brendan Powell.
Yep. And this is why Degner is such a difficult section of road. It's almost like a very sharp and abrupt jab, the end of what is an incredibly flowing opening sector. You go through this left, you got too sharp. It's off camber here through this right, misses it slightly, gets out on the AstroTurf, and you are a complete passenger through that section. He's lucky he's kept it out of those tyres there on the right-hand side, and he's able to keep the car going, but that will be a shock to the system for Brandon Powell.
Certainly will be, and that is, yeah, a very, very difficult section of track. That first right-hander, you can think that you've got it nailed, and you just touch that AstroTurf or the grass on that left-hand side before the second right, and you can easily find yourself a passenger, which is exactly what we've seen.
We just saw the fastest lap for Tamash Simon, but that was immediately beaten by fastest lap for Marco Sanfilippo, who gained a 10th over that last lap. Tomasz Kozdrom then, we focus on at this moment, 6th position in this one, has not had maybe a good run of consistent finishing out there. Had a really great qualifying last time out at Silverstone, got himself in falling back to about 7th or 8th place in the race overall, but right now he's just focusing on consistency, and can keep that consistency going. I'd say he'd be on for a very, very solid result around this place. You can see big lockups down there at the hairpin. Dominic Gaidemeyer, first time we've seen him in this car all season long, really showing just how difficult it is to get it slowed down.
Exactly right, and yeah, to finish first you have to finish. So some of these guys who are a little bit more experienced in these cars, a little bit further back, potentially may have an advantage on the likes of Dominic. So yeah, expect anything to happen over the coming laps. With,
how about a move?
That's opening up. Here we go.
And easy does it. And talk about a block from Anthony Cat. He was trying to go to the outside here. Daniel Alves was also angling for it and firmly got told no by Anthony Cat. There you could see James Chester's a passenger, a sitting duck on the run to 130R, and the run to the front stretch now. Bit of cloud cover coming over the circuit here. Alves thinking about the inside, isn't going to quite get there, but Cal Young gaining the place and can be very happy with that. Marco Sanfilippo, of course, with the fastest lap, gap down to 7/10 of a second now at the front. But these four are really going at it, and Chester's right now in a fight which he doesn't normally find himself in.
That's exactly right. These guys are racing it out for the back down here, and yeah, some fantastic racing. You really, you know, you don't expect these cars. They are so wide on track, and you just saw them they're coming too wide into the corner. Well, there's not much room for a third car.
Nope, totally agree with you there. Getting a third car in the mix is always going to be very, very difficult. And you can see the run they go through 200 right, 200 degrees of right-hand turn. You get through this section and now on the brakes into Spoon. And you don't need much in these Dallara Formula IRs. These are behemoths. And suddenly, Cal Young has been released and Chesters is looking back at Anthony Catt and Daniel Alves here. And it's really weird to see how much James Chesters is struggling. But this is one of those sorts of circuits. And go on board with Daniel Alves. You can see Catt angling to the inside and Alves late on the brakes gets a little bit stuck up there in the middle because of how Chesters broke in front. But around the outside, the Casio triangle gets that one done. That's a wonderful move. But some drivers do struggle around this place, Fonzie, because Japanese asphalt characteristics, well, they have those seashells in it. They have different elements of what you'd have, say, to traditional American or European asphalt. And now when you look at this track, it's actually a much more greasier and slippery surface than other places in the world.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually know that at all. Seriously, it's something new today. But yes, certainly this place is an absolute beast to drive around. And yeah, it doesn't matter what car. I can only imagine what these guys are going through today. In order to see some start to happen. The car that we're on board with currently, Marco Sanfilippo, really struggling to get that front grip on. So imagine what they'll be like in a few laps time.
Yeah, and of course, they'll be trying to whittle off the fuel. The tyres, of course, they're all on the hard compound tyre here today. There is no doubt about it. The hard compound is the only one that has any form of longevity. Such is the style that these vehicles have. They just churn tyres away without that much of a pace improvement. So that's why they're all on the hard tyre, because it's the only one that you can get any form of financial grit, you could say, from it, anything of worth. But look at that gap. It's down now to 0.6 of a second. Another lap from Marco Sanfilippo he can put in. A 29.6 that time by. And suddenly Tamas Simon, who looked really, really good in qualifying, 0.4 clear of anybody else. Well, he's in a race right now, and Marco Sanfilippo is very happy to bring him along. And the worst bit about it is he can't afford to sit down at any point in time. None of these drivers can. Andy T is 2 seconds adrift and is running exactly the same times.
You're exactly right, and both these two drivers at the front here and Andy T are fantastic drivers, and just look at their I rating, yeah, right up there with some of the best. So Tamas Simon will be a hard man to get past, but Marco is certainly a fantastic driver, and he'll just wait for a mistake to happen and get the move done.
We're talking about how important this battle is for the race victory, Fonty. It's the highest amount of points that they will have all season. Points, of course, work on a strength of field. They're calculated exactly the same with a 4,800 iRacing strength of field. That is the average here today of 4,800. That is 245 points for a race win.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic to see the caliber of drivers that we have here tonight, and really shows how popular this series is. So yeah, good finishing position tonight is crucial for your overall championship standings.
Absolutely is. They cross the line once again. They go on to lap 9 here of 30 at Suzuka, and the gap remaining at half a second between Simon and Sanfilippo. How much of this is going to become a game of chicken? And look at Chesters here. Huge amount of smoke from Chesters going down into the Casio triangle. And now as they enter the front stretch once again, Anthony Catt here is thinking about how he's going to make that move. He closes right up, moves to the inside into the very fast entry of turns 1 and 2. But Chester's so committed on the outside, says, no way, Jose, you're not getting through.
Oh, yeah, exactly right. You just look at the grip that these cars have, any other sort of car, and they'd be out in the weeds. So yeah, incredible to see how much grip in such a low section grip of the track being on the outside.
And again, you can see Catt really close up coming out of the Dunlop curve, that big long left-hand bend there, and that could very easily have caused a few dramas as he closed up, but couldn't get any angle into Degner. You can see just how much smoke lingers as everyone locks up into that Dunlop hairpin there as they go on through. And now the work really being done at this stage. There are some great battles up and down the order. It's come down to about 0.3 of a second here for the race lead, but it is Tamas versus Marco. And once again, Marco will get that benefit of being in front, that dirty air, that turbulence created by Tamas Simon will hurt Marco Sanfilippo out of that final corner by at least 0.2 of a second.
Yep, you're exactly right. And I'm looking at this battle here for 6th and 7th. Rashad Craig all over the back of the 8 car. 0.4 of a second separating those two guys. So you expect this battle to certainly heat right up.
And fastest lap goes to Andy T in the number 3 car in 3rd position at this moment in time. Only 2.1 seconds back of those two, Sanfilippo and Simon. But these three are running pretty much equal lap times between them right now. And they are being forced to drive at 99.9% of their potential ability at this moment. This is a really tough race right now because you have to be pretty much switched on at every point. Andy T is doing a very good job in 3rd.
Certainly is doing a good job in 3rd, and for someone who we don't see that regularly on a Friday night, yeah, to take it to these guys, although he's just dropped off 0.3 of a second, and he's got no draft, which will be not helping his campaign to try and catch up to those front two, but they're going to look after those tyres and certainly cut out laps, what he's just done. And yeah, he can make his way up very quickly.
No retirements yet in this race here at Suzuka. All 16 runners are still out there on circuit. You're watching the leading battle right now of the front 3. Tamas Simon, Marco Sanfilippo and Andy T out there at this stage. And I tell you how close it is at the front. Tamas Simon did a 1:29.357 fast lap of the race. Do you want to know what the driver behind did? A 1:29.358.
Or just nice little battle there with Omar Bahar. We can go back and have a look at that there, Jay. Yeah, it was a little bit of contact between those 3 cars that were running there.
So a little bit of contact. It was Bahar trying to get through. Cat went down to the inside trying to get it done, and Bahar just got in the grass there, and Oberslack came on the scene and was like, oh, what's this? Had to completely check up. We'll see this now on the replay here. Anthony Cat gets brave here against Chesters, goes for the inside, of course, and there you can see Omar Bahar out in the grass, struggling, and where does Oberslack go? You know, one small tap in these vehicles, and goodbye to the front, and it has to be a fight all the way to turn 1 for Omar Bahar to keep position.
Yep, that's exactly right, and he fell off in those earlier laps, dropped right back to last, made his way back up, and now he's got to do the same all over again. So he hasn't sustained any damage during that accident, which I'm sure he can easily make his way back onto the back of Chesters and Cat.
Well, that will be his focus over the next few laps. I'm pretty sure about it. He started in P5. He's down 10 places to 15th. Tamas Simon, another fastest lap of the race. 1:29.313 by iRacing standards. But ATVO says something different. At least at this point in time, Marco Sanfilippo knows he is keeping honest here, Tamas Simon, and Andy T just starting to fall off a little bit, unable to keep that same level of pace at the moment. No takers as of yet into the pits, but we are now firmly into that window. We see drivers look at half and half, or look to go as far as they can on the fuel to about lap 20, lap 22, for example, but we are very firmly in that range where we can say drivers are at least contemplating here, Fonty, the pit stop window.
Yep, that's exactly right. Nearly at the halfway point of the race, and yeah, if you can split those tyres and you know, right down the middle of the race, then it kind of gives you a good playing field for that last 15 laps. Didn't expect Andy T to drop off as quickly as he has, but yeah, he's dropping at a great rate of knots.
Yeah, so it's not the best in the world right now, but there is Tamas Simon going through 1:30R, looking like he is trying everything to break away, and he has had absolutely no help at all to get away at this moment in time. Marco Sanfilippo has been doing a great job over the course of this race just to keep this one pretty honest out there in the front. The gap now 0.6 of a second, because look at this. Tamas Simon is running purple lap time after purple lap time. He's just on a 29 flat, and Marco Sanfilippo still within 0.6. What does Tamas have to do to get rid of him?
No, I don't think he can. I think Marco Sanfilippo is just driving a smart race and sitting back there, potentially saving a little bit of fuel, trying to look after those tyres. And yeah, come the pit stop time, potentially, he might be able to make up and come out of that in first place.
We've still got other battles out there on track as well. Rashad Craig, for example, versus Michael de Turk is another one which is keeping the eyes alert right now. De Turk has been slowly dropping off the back, along with Rashad Craig, from Tomasz Koztron and Dominic Gaidemeyer out there in 5th and 6th positions. But now you have to wonder if de Turk wants to try and get himself through against Rashad Craig on the brakes into the hairpin. Such a tough place to get it done there, because you've got that small kink right, which is not a small kink by any standards, and that is Danny Alves Lorenko in trouble and first retirement all on his own, coming out of the Degner corners, and he just lights up the rears on the AstroTurf and has himself looped into the Armco, and Cal Young's lucky.
Yeah, he certainly is. And yeah, disappointing. Well, we've managed to get nearly halfway through the race without any incident happening. So, yeah, certainly greatest improvement. Oh, he was very lucky there. But yeah, compared to round 1 of this championship, when nearly half the field didn't make it through the first turn, yeah, we've seen a bit of improvement on that overall.
Watch this here from Cal Young. He goes the right way, goes to the right, but suddenly, he's lucky he's still got a car there, and you could see iRacing was in two minds to work out whether Cal Young was hit or not there at that moment in time, and as such, Danny Alves becomes the first retirement of this race. Gap still there between Simon and Sanfilippo, another 1/10 of a second gone, but the gap back down to half a second at least, and it will just extend out again on the exits of these apexes. Marco Sanfilippo struggling a little bit. This is a tough track to go out there and get a pass done in the first 2 sectors of the lap. Sector 3 is where you see most of the overtaking being done around this one, but crucially, we're on lap 14 of 30, so halfway will be scored at the next lap. And now the question becomes, at what point do you pit if you're Marco Sanfilippo? Do you just follow Tomasz Simon into the pits, or do you decide you want to try and maybe under or overcut?
I reckon you'd have to follow him in. With being in behind in second place, he would have been able to save a little bit of fuel.
So Andreas Henkel here has dropped the position, and again, it's Spoon where it's gone wrong. And he just grabs the curb, trying to turn in for the second part of it. You see it right now. Good through the first part. Just grabs the curb. Thank you very much. Car spins around, and he's done well again to keep it out the barriers. But Gaidemeyer was having absolutely none of it. He was going through, and Koztron wasn't.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there. Slightly just unbalanced the car a little bit too much by touching that curb, and around she went. So you can simply see that the rubber is starting to get a little bit older. And these guys are starting to be a bit of a handful for them.
Definitely looking that way at the moment. And again, Marco Sanfilippo, that wasn't the best run there through that section of road. It has opened the gap. He did just set a 28.8 on the board. Fastest lap of the race. So Marco Sanfilippo struggling a little bit this lap to get himself anywhere near one Mr. Tomasz Simon, who would have felt that's a statement. I need to turn up the wick even further. Gaidemeyer now having to defend from Andreas Henkel. They've dropped Tomasz Koztron, who's now got de Turk and Craig to deal with. And, of course, we've still got the 4-car scrap going on. Oberslack, Bahar, Chesters and Cat out there in the background. So Henkel trying to chase down. Wide goes Gaidemeyer. He gets away with it there through Spoon. And as he makes that attack down the hill and back up again, it looks like Gaidemeyer, for the moment, has himself about 3 car lengths to give himself some security.
Yeah, Henkel looks fast though at this stage, so he'll just be waiting for that mistake to be made. Oh, he's having a look though, putting a nose in there. Not going to be able to get it done there, but potentially into turn 1.
It should be, well, actually, it's going to be now, because in comes Gaidemeyer at the halfway stage to go in and make his pit stop. First of the takers is the number 1 machine into the pit. So a very wise idea, half and half the race if you need one stop. And ultimately, that one continues on now. Bahar was trying there against James Chesters. He just wiggles there, trying to go through. Tried to put the power down. But ultimately, the air just taken off of him as he goes through. And suddenly, here comes Jacob Oberslack for a move as we catch the Motum simulation replay. No change of position, we may add. But this is Omar Bahar here, Fonzie, looking to try and attack James Chesters.
Yeah, certainly is. Here we go, see it on the replay. Whoa. Both of them pretty good under brakes. Tell you what, fantastic driving from the leading car there. Oh, he struggled to get on the gas too, so that'll be why he's left himself wide open.
Yep, just the back end stepping out through that final corner. Very easily done as they go through. Gaidemeyer out then and away. 8.8 seconds in the box for him. And that could be the catalyst which puts everybody else into the pits. Henkel, Cosdron maybe, for example. Marco Sanfilippo dives into the pits on lap 16. He's decided, I'm just on the fringes of a second here with the draft. I'm going to bite my bullet now and try and get an undercut. Almost everybody else around him has stayed out or not there yet. It's a long pit lane here at Suzuka as well. And the question will be on Henkel, who decides he's going to do what he's traditionally done, which is stay out as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, this is a smart move by Marco Sanfilippo. Let's see what his stop is in comparison to Dominic. So
that's the Turk there losing a place. And this is important because the Turk was up there. I think he's had a moment somewhere on track this lap because he was well up there in the racing. But ultimately, he has really dropped back over the last couple of laps. In fact, it was a spinner lap and a bit ago at the back end of Spoon. He put it in the wall.
Yeah, there we go. Just having a look here on the replay to see what happened.
I think it was the lap. It was another lap. It was a lap before that. So that is Anthony Catt trying to make his move, and he would comfortably get it done because of the damage to the front wing there on Michael the Turk's machine. But it was the lap before where the incident happened. He's come into the pits out and away, as has Jacob Oberslack, by the way, come into the pits and made a stop, and that's why those moves have all been concocted. But the question now remains, where do you go in and make those stops? And Tamas Simon has decided to stay out then on circuit, keep himself going. Now, this is going to be a tough one because he is still racing Andy T. Gap, of course, is about 5 seconds right now, but still, 5 seconds, you still got to keep honest.
Yeah, well, Tamas Simon, he needs to think about, well, he needs to keep an eye on Marco's pace. And if Marco gets held up by traffic at any stage, that could certainly be detrimental to his race win. But yeah, fast stop from Marco, 8.4 seconds, fastest we've seen out of anybody so far.
That's glorious. In comes Schiff, in comes Cal Young, and that is exactly what Marco Sanfilippo wanted. He was encroaching on Cal Young then over those last couple of sectors, and then suddenly Cal Young diving into the pits. That is perfect. 3-car scrap still between Cat, Chesters and Bahar. Continues on as they go in towards turn number 1. Racing right now out there what is effectively, I would say, 7th, 8th and 9th at this moment in time.
Yeah, there we go. Just looking at this battle. Omar Bahar, James Chesters, these guys are absolutely going at it. And Omar's done a fantastic job to fall off the track twice and still make his way back up there. Be battling with these guys is absolutely fantastic to see.
Absolutely is, and you can see they make their way into the Dunlop hairpin. Big lock of smoke. Race leader, though, is in the lane. Tamas Simon has made the call to dive down into the pit. Big siren goes off as they hit their marks. Andy T is going to follow in, and he was very close to the line. The question will be, will Henkel dive in, or is he going to stay out and take laps in at the race lead? He is also deciding it's time to come down into the pits. Cosdron and Craig all dive in. So now it's about Marco here. Nobody to chase. In the box is Tamas Simon right now. He'll be taking fuel. He'll be taking tyres. He's not got long to go. Now look at the big difference here. Tamas Simon is only getting out of the pits now, and he's down there in front. You can see that gap. Question is, how close are you going to be if you're Marco Sanfilippo? He's lost out then. The overcuts worked a dream.
Yeah, it certainly has. Yeah, first fast lap there for Marco Sanfilippo, a 1:29.8. So, yeah, it hasn't quite worked out for him on that one. But, yeah, I'm sure he can make up those 2.3 seconds, and it will take a little while for Tamas Simon to get into the groove of things.
Yeah, definitely looks that way. So Tamas Simon will have to deal with those cold tyres. Look at that fight coming off of the pits then between Chesters, Cat and Bahar. It is Chesters who beats Cat out of the pits then. So good stop from James Chesters. It's something he does very well. He maximised everything he needed to. Got a good result.
certainly did get a good result, and interesting to see the mix-up in the pit lane there. Always makes racing interesting to watch. Got a great battle here for 8th and 9th. Philip Sheaf all over the back of Richard Craig.
I believe that's Dominic Gaidemeyer over the back of Richard Craig at this point in time as we look at Marco Sanfilippo out there. There is Gaidemeyer. He lost out in the stops as well, actually, through all of that then. So he made that stop earlier, the first of the drivers to take a stop. Cosdron and also then Richard Craig going through, and that's De Turk around again.
There we go, De Turk's around. So this car doesn't look too bad enough though, to be honest. We should still be able to finish out this race. 10 laps to go. The interesting battle will be, can Marco Sanfilippo catch onto the back of Thomas Simon? It was half a second, it was nearly a whole second faster in his stop, so he's definitely taken a lot less fuel than what Sanfilippo has.
That's also something that's very telling as we look at Anthony Catt, number 44 on the helmet, of course, inspired by Lewis Hamilton. Here comes the move, looking towards that inside line and not going to get there on Chester's. He tried through 130R, couldn't get it done. And now Omar Bahar's got to be just very patient with the way he wants to try and make this happen, because there are no guarantees in a sim race. It could very easily fall foul in just the blink of an eye, and that, of course, here in these vehicles is more often than not.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sperry. He couldn't be more right with that statement there. You can just be a passenger and be caught up in someone else's incident. But yeah, Omar Bahar certainly looking pretty racy at this stage, and just needs to be patient.
Yeah, patience is of the essence then. Chester's holding on to the final spot inside the top 10. Catt and Bahar definitely want to get themselves through, and as soon as what is humanely possible for them at this moment in time. So we've still got a really strong race on our hands as we figure this out. And again, down the hill and then back up it again as they go over the bridge towards this section. Look at the drive that Anthony Catt gets in the tow. Chester's then forced then to the outsides. They go through 130R side by side and over to the triangle. They come along once again. Catt's got the inside. Oh, and around goes James Chester's into the gravel.
There we go. So we just said it. Omar Bahar had to be patient, and yeah, certainly not the race that James Chester's wanted there. He was driving fantastically well up until that point.
It's so rare to see James Chester's in an accident, and that, I think, comes along once in a blue moon. Virtual Racing School replay then on screen. They fought so hard, side by side. They go into this section, and it's just a case of Chester's trying to go around the outside, and it's just the smallest bit of contact that they go and get through, and Chester's will feel desperately unlucky. He did leave a car width there for Anthony Catt, but Catt just on the outside, struggling to get it slowed down, would have had next to nothing. You can see heavy amounts of netcode as they went through as well, have really hurt James Chester.
Yeah, certainly, Ed. He would be absolutely gutted with that. He was driving fantastically well throughout this race. So that's moved Omar Bahar up into P10 and driving a fantastic race. Already started to pull a decent gap on Anthony Catt there. Potentially Catt may have sustained a little bit of right front damage, maybe?
Potentially, but I think he'd have got away with it if it was a netcode hit, because it's effectively registered as a phantom hit. You don't get 0x for it. I didn't hit anyone is normally the best response you get to that. But there is Marco Sanfilippo. That gap around 2.93 seconds now, and we were wondering whether it was a case of Tamas Simon underfilling or Marco Sanfilippo overfilling. I think it's Marco Sanfilippo overfilling we're seeing at this moment. Andy T, only 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Looking at the other stops as well, the majority of those top guys there, 7.5 seconds. Marco Sanfilippo, 8.4, so an overfill for him.
And those 1 seconds make all the difference. That is the difference between him being on the back of Tamas Simon and Tamas Simon given full license to break away and do exactly what he needs to in this race. And it really does show at this moment. You can see that gap, 3 seconds fluctuating in and around. Marco's got to run some purple lap times here if he wants to get anywhere near Tamas Simon and victory here in what is the highest strength of field we have had all season long. Sets himself a 29.7 down on the board. And you can see that is another 0.3 of a second, 4/10. And it's the Casio triangle where it's all going away.
Certainly right. Very difficult part of the track. Well, this whole track is very difficult, and you can't really name a corner that is an easy one to get around. They're all very characteristic and unique to themselves, and this section of track that Sanfilippo is coming through right now is very tough. These double right-handers here. We've already seen one person be claimed from that part of the track, and yeah, I'm sure we may see another one before the end of this race.
We very much may do at this point in time. Everybody keeping everybody else honest, it seems, in this race. Marco Sanfilippo there. There is, of course, Rashad Craig that we see on screen in the number 14, up 3 places today into 6th place. And his eyes are firmly forward on the blinking Alfa Romeo, quote-unquote, in front of Tomasz Koztron, who, of course, will be a very difficult customer to get by.
And will be a difficult customer to get by. And looking at this gap between Andy T and Sanfilippo, that's closing right up. 1.8 seconds separating those two guys now. So we've got 8 laps left in this race. And Sanfilippo, someone who had such awesome pace earlier on in this event, he's really starting to struggle at the back end.
That's a 1:30.1 over that last lap. So he is really in a world of hurt here, is Marco Sanfilippo. When you consider his best is a 28.8, he is really falling backwards into Andy T at a rate of knots. That was 0.8 of a second lost on that last lap.
Yeah, there we go. So this battle for the second step on the podium is well on. And yeah, I'm sure Sanfilippo, he's a very experienced driver. He'll be able to hold it off. But Andy T, he's also a fantastic peddler and been around the scene for years. So yeah, anything can happen.
You'd have to feel anybody who's got an iRating, above 6,000 has a lot to work with. Andy T is one of those. Number 3 he comes into with his iRating at this stage. Marco Sanfilippo, of course, is there in 2nd position, but is starting to struggle. You can see just how much they start to close. The gap now down to 1.3 seconds as they go through 130R and into the triangle once again. And I'm just seeing Marco Sanfilippo absolutely clatter the curb as he goes through. T, a little bit more conservative then as he goes on through, like a cup of tea, you would say. It's nothing too out there and, I would say, fiery with a cup of tea. But at least the gap now, 1.6 seconds as they cross the line. Andy T is just turning the screw.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Sanfilippo has potentially done some aero damage with collecting those curbs so hard. Because I was watching in a straight line there, he was certainly, the gap was closing between himself and Andy T in the straight line, but around the corner he seems to be going alright. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of front aero damage.
The rear doesn't look settled for Marco Sanfilippo. I've just been looking at him for about half a lap, and the rear just does not look like it's settled. He's really fighting against the car through every single corner, it seems, and this might just be a case for Marco where this one becomes a little bit of a tougher battle out there as Andy T comes on in. I saw him have to half catch it through the long left, which leads up to the Degners, and now you start to worry here about Marco Sanfilippo and if he can hold on to things at this point in time. There are some gaps that have grown up, and we have to note as well that Anthony Cat has actually got back through here on Omar Bahar.
There we go. So well done to Anthony Cat for that move. Was it a mistake by Omar Bahar? Do we know?
Well, we'll go have a look for you right now here on the virtual racing school replay here at SimSpeed TV. And it is just a very basic pass into turn number 1, gets himself down the inside at the apex, and you're not going to argue too much against that. Omar Bahar was never going to have that one stopped.
Yeah, certainly wasn't, but he's hasn't let the pressure off, and yeah, he'll be battling all the way through to the end of this race with Titty Cat, that's for sure.
There is your race leader, Tamas Simon, won by a landslide over at Silverstone last week, but has had it a little bit tougher this time out in comparison to Marco Sanfilippo and Andy T. And the real testament to how strong these drivers have been is you look at the gap between 3rd and 4th, it is 20 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely massive gap there. And that gap between 2nd and 3rd is slightly closing. I think he does have some aero damage because he is being caught in a straight line. Oh,
he's gone!
Oh, there we go. He's gone. So Sanfilippo's race, or 2nd place, is done. He's going to need to just bring it home now and to finish 3rd. But he'll be gutted with that one.
Yeah, just looking at it then as he goes through, he tries to get everything possible back, just falls away from him as he goes through. You'll see it right now. He has a little bit of a look as he goes through this section. And again, it's just the rear tyre grabs the curb slightly and goodbye and see you later. He's done well to keep it as close as he did there through that section of road. But just like that, we saw he was struggling a little bit with the rear tyres. And finally, it bites. And Andy T now has 2nd. And Tamas Simon will feel he's got a bit of daylight to work with.
Oh, nice battle here. Richard Craig. He's all over the back of the 8 car in front of him. He's going to be able to pop him into turn 1. I think he is. Yep. Oh, he's going to have a look.
Just so aggressive. Scrubbing out wide, though, is Cosdron just in front. And suddenly, Richard Craig has got to follow and harry and chase through the S's here, through the lefts and the rights. This is a tough right. It falls away from you here, the final part of the snake, so to speak. The S's before this next left, which comes on through, and you really attack up these 2 right-hand Degners off camber through the first one. You've got a little bit of help through the second as you slingshot your way to the 2nd sector, but opportunity's gone now here for Richard Craig. He's got to hope there's a better mistake on the horizon.
Yeah, just looking back at this battle, Anthony Cat, Omar Bahar, these guys are still going at it, hammer and tong. And Omar looking very racy, just waiting for that mistake to happen.
Well, patience is a virtue, but when you've got patience, you also have to be patient long enough. Old Father Time coming up on this race because they are now down due to the race leader at 3 laps to go at this stage. Craig chasing Cosdron all the way down through 130R. Maybe a look into the triangle, door left open, but that's because Cosdron was very committed to the brakes. Simon, fastest lap of the race. He's got an 8.4 second margin now at the front of this field, but Craig is still hoping that he's got a chance of a move.
Yeah, I think he does. Yes, 2.5 laps to go, so he just needs to set it up right, identify the weakness of the driver in front, and really be committed into making that move.
The issue for him is the weakness is turn 2, and the thing is you can't capitalise after turn 2. You've got a whole S's section where it's all about that aerodynamic grip, and if you've got all of that in front, you're good. Oh, look at those tyres in the grass there from Mr. Tomas Cosdron. He is really trying to open up all of the track right now to give himself any form of advantage late on in this race. And I tell you what, I don't blame him right now. He is trying to use every trick in the book, even put dirt in the eyes of Richard Craig, so to speak. So let's have a look at this. Tamas Simon has had an issue. Oh, he's had a spin. He's had a spin at Spoon. Race leader, spin at Spoon. The gap is 3 seconds.
Go. I think he's probably still going to be able to hold on to it, but it's going to be exactly what we saw beforehand. There we go. Oh, that's the 4th one we've seen in this race of just touching the curb, and Sanfilippo hadn't have spun it, then potentially it might have been on between those 2, but I think he's going to get away with it.
for the moment, but he's got hot tyres and he's got to cool them down. Craig again close with Cosron, no angle in towards 1 and 2. So once more, it becomes a game of waiting. 29 laps we are on through now of 30, and Tamas Simon will be looking behind. There is the battle, Omar Bahar versus Anthony Cat in the fight for the final spot inside the top 10. Cat is going to the middle of the road to try and defend this one. Moves back again, as now here comes Bahar looking for the inside, but he has to lift out of it then. Tries to get a little bit greedy through 2. He's got nothing there.
No, certainly doesn't have anything there, but he's trying his hardest. The closest battle we've got, Omar Bahar. Also Brandon Powell. He's on the back of Overslack, so this battle for the top 10 is certainly a light and wow.
It certainly is, but we now start the final lap of this race in iRacing. This is called the white flag lap. You get waved a white flag as is traditional and American style racing, which tells you you've got one more lap available in this one. Simon with a 3-second lead. We look back to Rashad Craig and Tomasz Kozron, the final spot in the top 5. Still up for grabs here. Craig needs to really maximize this run through this right. You can see, though, just how much the dirty air hurts through this right. It's such a difficult corner to put the power down through. And suddenly, Cosron, once again, has the gap he wants, and he is able to walk away with things. Cat, as well, behind, has just got enough, I think, over Omar Bahar to defend and fend off on this lap. But at least for the moment, we focus on that one. There is Bahar and Cat. Bahar looks so committed under the brakes. He's able to close that up, and now Anthony Cat will be thinking about that defence and how it is to go. But here they go in towards turn number 1. The chance is there for Bahar. He actually does get himself to the inside, and he will try and take it away. Anthony Cat's got nothing. That is wonderfully, wonderfully done. But we go towards Tamas Simon, who makes his way over the bridge to 130R and the final Casio triangle. He would have had a heart-in-mouth moment with 3 to go as the car spins at Spoon. But you can have those ticker moments. He's done so well to keep it all composed and together. Tamas Simon, that is the lifeline he was looking for, as he now gets himself one step closer to a titanic final battle in this championship. T second and a kick in the teeth for Sanfilippo third. Watch this for fifth, because there is Craig down the inside of Cosron to 130R too wide. Cosron has to bail as he goes through, and now on the brakes, he's going to be in the grass trying to slow it down. Oh, he's flipped him! He's flipped him as he goes over. Oh my goodness me! Cosron will take fifth. Craig upside down and out, just a corner away from the end.
Oh, he'll be absolutely gutted with that one. He executed that move well, and you'd be gutted because he did really well. That wasn't any mistake of his own.
Wow, absolutely incredible scenes. There you can see they're side by side already as they go through. Cosron does not look settled as he goes through. Has to bail here through this section. And then when he's fighting the grip, he's got no way to slow it down. And bang, there's the hit. He was out in the grass trying to brake, was struggling with the car, which likes to oscillate once it's got differences in grips. That's what limited slip diff does for you. And ultimately, that is a case of Tomasz Cosron flipping over Rashad Craig, and very, very fortunate to finish this race. And I'm sure that Rashad Craig will look at that one and go, well, I think Mr. Nim Cross might want to have a little look at that sort of hit. But that is how it finishes over the start-finish line. Everybody has made their way home as and when they needed to. Tamas Simon, 45 minutes and 20 seconds worth of heart-in-mouth sim racing. He had to do everything in his powers to make sure that he held on to that one. One spin late on, still not enough to stop him from picking up maximum 245 points. He wins by just 3.9 in the end. We'll just say that's 4 seconds over Andy T, with Marco Sanfilippo coming home in third position overall. Andreas Henkel, a very quiet and reserved drive, did have a couple spins today, but fourth position nevertheless. I'm sure he'll take that in the back pocket, with Tomasz Cosron effectively gifted that fifth place after that wonderful, wonderful last lap scrap, which unfortunately ended in tears for certain drivers. Dominic Gaidemeyer then coming home in sixth place. Then did a pretty decent job, all things considered. Philip Schiff, quiet race from him today, but one that he'll be happy with. 7th place. He's got the heebie-jeebies done after incidents early on in the season, with Anthony Catt then holding on to 9th position there, just behind Cal Young in 8th. And in fact, Omar Bahar on that final lap then has had an issue, and that's why he is behind Anthony Catt then for the top 10. Then you've got in 11th position overall then at the end of all of that racing, Jacob Oberschlack, it is 12th for Brandon Powell, who finishes just ahead of both Michael de Turk and James Chesters, who are 13th and 14th. Rashad Craig doesn't make it to the line. It's 15th in the end for him after all of that battling. And then 16th, and the only quote-unquote retirement from this race, Rashad Craig would have technically finished under Formula rules, Daniel Alves Lorenco in troubles. In terms of Bahar's incident, it's at Degner 2 where it all goes wrong for him, all on his own. Back end steps out and drops it in the grass, and that is why Anthony Catt was able to move up into 9th ahead of Bahar on the final lap. But Fonty, another incredible sim race here with the Dallara Formula IRs.
Yeah, certainly right, mate. It was a fantastic race, and yeah, quite surprised to see how many people actually finished the race, which really is starting to show that people are getting experience in this absolute beast of a car that iRacing have brought to the server. And yeah, fantastic event tonight. I think Tomas Simon, he was very lucky that San Filippo made a similar mistake. Otherwise, it would have potentially been on for the race win. But great drive from him and great drive from Andy T as well.
Well, Salut Gilles, you see on screen, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are going to be 1 week from now. I can inform you the gap at the top of the championship is 6 points between Marco Sanfilippo and Tamas Simon as we head to a season showdown at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. You definitely want to tune in and watch it because it is going to be two of the very best scrapping on a virtually equal playing field. One position either way will decide that championship, and it will be here with us, of course, at SimSpeed TV. You'll want to also join us in 55 minutes' time, where we will be bringing you coverage of the VRS GT Sprint Series here, the 11th round of that championship after our 1 week hiatus. Nothing we could do about that, ladies and gentlemen. We did apologise for that last week, but a massive thanks has to go to the Virtual Racing School sponsors of the replays here today at SimSpeed TV, and will be for every race all season long. From Jay Kennedy on the cameras, Scott Fountain, or Fonty as we like to call him, alongside, I've been Jake Sperry. That is what you call a moment to remember. Tamas Simon did absolutely everything right, except for one small mistake, which was a spin at Spoon with 2 to go. Mistake, though, that goes unpunished, with Marco's own mistake counteracting and counterbalancing. It is 6 points now, the gap. There is 1 race to go. Salut Gilles Villeneuve, you will definitely love this from where you are sitting. We'll see you, of course, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, 1 week from now for the final of Dallara Formula IR. But before that, we got 55 minutes to wait because VRS GT is on the horizon.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got with the outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?